10 o'clock and all's well. Hello, how are you lovely lot? And welcome to the EV Café News, 30 minutes of what's happening in zero-emission transport with expert analysis from the EV Café crew. As usual, we have Sam, we have Sarah, and man, am I delighted to see you because I was worried you'd get blown away. Sarah, how's the weather with you?
No, it's crazy. I did my little morning run just now, and this lady said to me, "Oh, you're blowing a bit up there." I'm like, "Thanks for the encouragement. I'm blowing too."
And Sam, how about you? Windy?
Yeah, all is well, thank you. I woke up and felt like a monsoon had passed overnight that I hadn't noticed. But rainwater everywhere, but it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sitting here in central Scotland where we have a red weather warning, and frankly, I had a
Isn't that
sunbed.
just a Friday?
Well, pretty much. I mean, I put on a thicker coat today, but the reality was I had a sunbed which went woo, and I had a spherical ball which I have rolling around the garden, which is a light, and that kind of got a bit grumpy. But other than that, we're not seeing too much just yet, but who knows what's coming our way. Have we all got cuppers? Are we all ready? Should we plug into what's happening in zero-emission transport this week? And coming up, Marks and Spencers are introducing 85 zero and low-emission vehicles into their fleet. Not just any vehicles. These are M&S vehicles. Sam, we're coming to you for that one. A British startup, Aegis Energy, gets $122 million of funding for green charging stations. Sarah, coming to you for that one. The Commercial Vehicle Show, we're going to be showcasing what we're up to there. I'm going to lead on that one in the absence of Pablo, and I'd very much value a guess as to where is Paul today. So wham it in the comments. One, what's the weather doing with you? And two, where's Wally? And finally, the threat of tariffs is raising questions over the Chinese electric vehicle takeover. This is one that we're really going to try and get to grips with at the end of the show, and I reckon there's going to be a bun fight on that one. But first, charging. And the old adage, I think it's Sam that says this a lot, it's about having the right charger in the right place when you are stopped. And I'd like to raise this because Liz Allen and Ben McDonald have highlighted it in a WhatsApp group and said, could you chat about this on the news? So CPOs obviously very focused on putting rapids, ultra rapids into the ground and getting them working. Destination charging of 7 kilowatts, 22 kilowatts, in their opinion and mine, still valuable as part of our infrastructure needs. Sarah, this is long exercised you. Talk more. Do we need the local authorities and others to be putting in destination charging of 7 and 22 kilowatts?
Yes. The reason is, I think the misunderstanding that happens with the 22s is, of course, a lot of vehicles are restricted to 10.9. So people get confused when they turn up, and it's often priced very similarly to those rapid chargers as well. So that's something I've certainly noticed. So of those who can charge at home, that's always going to be the best thing. You might need to do one top-up charge on the go, and that's where full credit to the CPOs, charge point operators, goes, because you can dash in, dash out, and carry on. Destination charging, we're not quite at Sam's level of phraseology there, where I don't stop to charge because I've stopped, because that would be marvelous. Is every time you go to a supermarket and you see 7 kilowatt, you're going to be there for an hour, hop on, it's 30 miles. That could do you a pretty good favor as you're dashing about. And if you've got an office, if you're going back to an office and you're there all day, you don't need anything more than 7 kilowatts, unless you're planning on turning up completely empty, which I'm pretty sure most people don't. So a whole swathe of sub 7s would actually be amazing for a workplace charging. So that phrase is not Sam's. That phrase is everybody's. The right kit in the right place at the right time. That's for everybody to own and carry forward, because we've been saying it since local authority for 10 years, when this stuff has been on our laps with funding and planning. And don't be greedy and go after the high powered all the time. Sometimes that low powered is just what you need.
See, I must be honest, I thought Sam came up with all of the wisdom in the whole world. My apologies.
Yes, I do see this. You do think that Sam is the all phrases. Let's put it in the chat. How many more do we think?
One of them actually was me, but the other one, right charger, right place, right time, I think it's coined, whilst we've all used it in different iterations, I think Graham Cooper is probably the one that deserves the the credibility for that one.
Love old coops. Now then, Sam, a question for you. Another conversation that happened in WhatsApp this week was around 400 volt and 800 volt architecture. People rocking up to a charger and it's saying up to 350 kilowatts available. Bosh, there you go. Thank you very much. When they plug their car in, they get 140, 150, 160. And that's because they've got 400 volt architecture and they can't make the very best use of the charger because the car can't take it. You can provide it if you've got 800 volt architecture in your vehicle. You can take the full beans if it's available. Is that broadly it?
It is, but don't be deceived. That's the only reason why you can't charge at a higher power. Because there are lots of other factors that might determine that, like what state of charge it was when you plugged in, or temperature and other things. So there's lots of variables that determine how many kilowatts your car will receive, and your car dictates that. So, Paul and I had a debate, which he lost handsomely, in regards to the relevance of 400 or 800 volt platforms. It doesn't matter. What really matters is how much your kilowatt power your car can take. And now the 800 volt platforms do have the ability to take more power. So it's a useful thing to know. But critically, it's kilowatts, which is the most important number. It's something we can all vehicles are the same, all chargers are the same in terms of the amount they can distribute. So you just have to understand that number and how best your car can take it. So the Ioniqs and the Porsches, etc., that have that platform, have an ability to take a greater level of power than some of the others. And that's the important thing to just to know, because that's something which is universal across all vehicles.
Every time he earns his corn, just like Sarah, bringing you the facts. We are on. Right, let's get the news started. Talking of facts, Marks & Spencer's has announced the introduction of 85 zero and low emission vehicles to its supply chain logistics fleet. As part of its Plan A roadmap to net zero by 2040, the retailer has committed to move to low carbon logistics, increased use of new technologies and cleaner fuels. 5 zero-emission battery electric HGVs will operate between M&S's clothing and home distribution centre in Welham Green and 30 stores across London and the South East, including Oxford Street and Bluewater. The 42-tonne battery electric Renault trucks will directly replace equivalent diesel trucks, with the vehicles delivered through the eFreight 2030 project, part of the UK government's zero-emission HGV and infrastructure demonstrator programme, ZHEAD. Speaking of ZHEAD, here he is again. Sam, great news. Absolutely great news that M&S are taking 5 diesels off, putting in 5 electrics. They can do a job for us.
Yes, exactly. And I think that last sentence sums it up for me, John. Yes, that's a very, very good thing. And the eFreight project is brilliant. We're all fully supportive of each other's projects within ZHEAD. We're not competing. We're all collaborating, and that's important. So, good luck to them. I hope it goes really well. 5 trucks is good. However, I do have one small gripe. It's not about the ZHEAD, it's about the title. So we're getting a lot of information these days about 85 zero or low emission vehicles. It's 5 trucks, right? So does that mean the other 80 are still burning stuff? It's still better. It's still better. But I've seen a lot of zero diesel fleet messaging around as well, or no diesel fleet. Okay, well, you're still burning stuff. So I just think we need to be careful with some of these guys in terms of the way that they phrase it, because 85 vehicles that's low or no emission is brilliant. 5 of them are electric. So good, but let's not deceive, which I'm worried just a little bit. There's some of the narrative, a bit like plug-in hybrid type stuff of years gone by, that people are putting a big number out there, but only a small of them are actually zero emission. So, that's the only thing. I'm not criticizing them, because it's a good news story, but just careful what the title reads is my only concern.
He's a tough man to please, Sarah. I wouldn't be you for all the tea and Tesco's.
Yeah, but you raise a good point. I mean, what I love about this story, and I haven't got the news script, so this was a good one for me. I like this. M&S are in everyone's homes. It's the sort of panacea for a lot of people about where they go to shop. It's a real experience going to Marks & Spencer, and they've long since trailblazed with they were one of the first to do the different shaped lorry to make sure the airflow was better, and they branded that all down the side of the lorry truck thing. So I'm happy to see this, because they've always put their money where their mouth is, and even if it is only 5 for now, I think they've got the reach, they've got the headlines, they can show the way to go for the other fleets to follow and get into the homes, which is where people's hearts and minds sit at the end of it all.
Totally, and I love how middle class we all are M&S are in everyone's homes. I remember.
Well, what I said was they're the ultimate.
Not in mine.
So at Christmas, everyone goes. At Christmas, everyone goes. That's where people go to feel good. So it's like, let's buy a gift. Let's go M&S. It's a high street store. We all love them. And yet again, they're doing something good. And just for the record, I'm an Aldi fan.
Oh, now Sam, where do you shop?
I've got quite a few supermarkets around, so I pick and choose.
Oh,
But mainly Aldi or Lidl with the kids, actually, because they're the two nearest ones, which is probably why I go there.
Oh, little
Okay,
Sam.
I've just seen. I am going to interrupt you because Kate Tyrrell has done a laughing face emoji. I know for a fact that Kate Tyrrell goes to a farm shop near both of us called Jolly Nice, where a bunch of carrots is like a mortgage. So I don't know what that laughing face is for, Kate, but I've got you.
Jolly nice. Jolly hockey sticks. Right, okay, should we do some shout outs?
Yes.
Right, come on then. Okay, shout outs. 7:53 this morning. Daryl Sharp, yet again. What a dude. 8:35. Carl Elliott, happy Saturday Eve. Thank you kindly. Leon Gomez had a power cut since 8 a.m. Stay safe. Quite right. Oh, power cuts. What a pain in the bum. If we all disappear, it is a power cut, but it's not happening as far as I can see. Gary Comerford, morning, my friend. Made it this week. Thank you kindly. Rob Dustin, slightly blowy. Lucky boy. Marvin Samuels. Hello, my friend David Cornish. Mark Elliott, morning, gang. Morning, sir. Belinda Guy. Slightly windy Midhurst. That's a nice way to describe yourself. Daryl Sharp. Yes, I do have an Iron Brew lobster on my wall. There's a story about that in the Carla True podcast that we've released this week. If you want to know more about that, listen in. Michael Barton, he's in Bristol. Despite the weather, today is a solid 8 out of 10. We're pleased to hear that. Paul Shearer, Barnfather, greetings, my friend. He's on the YouTube, you know. We're on the YouTube. Can I tell you something? Over 500,000 views of our stuff on YouTube last year. Just saying. Ben McDonald, the aforementioned Ben McDonald who raised destination charging, thank you. And he's here, ladies and gentlemen. It's Peter Heath. He's got nice teeth. Welcome, my friend. Teresa Swift. Hello, darling. How are you? Ian Mayhew. Good to see you. He's eating his way through his mince pie stash. A mustache made of mince pies. How interesting. Jim Blair. Well, what's all the fuss about? It's a lovely day. Lovely day. Lovely day. Good. Glad to see that you're all right. Andrew Clark. He's got a breezy Wall's End. That's nasty. You should go to the doctors for that one. Mark Sherry Brennan. Renewables. Oh, loving the weather. I think we've actually turned off some turbines in Scotland because it's too dangerous to have them whizzing around and they're a bit worried. Rob Dustin. Sunbed in Scotland, yes. Got to sleep somewhere in what we call the summer, that one day in July. Paul O'Brien. Morning. And a funner Friday. He actually said funnier, which is not right. It's funner. Funner. Right? If you're going to annoy Sam, funner. Evie Bino, Ron Godfrey. He thinks Paul's in Vancouver. Paul is not in Vancouver.
It's brilliant. That's great. That's tickled me.
Why?
Because Paul's always somewhere abroad, usually using a plane.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
But today, we're domestic. Stuart Humphrey. Thank you again for all your comments, Stuart. Really appreciate you. Kylie Glover from Greenfleet. We love a bit of Greenfleet. Kirk Smith. Morning. Sarah Kennel. 2 weeks in a row. Marv Samuels. Still windy in Chester. Nasty. Martin Sweeney. Hello, my darling. Lovely to see you. Scott Eady. Moaning. Saw a very interesting video with you in now at the CES show. Really good. Yeah. Doing some good stuff there, my friend. David Cornish, 800 volt Kia EV6. Look at you. Who else we got? Mark Main. He was late, but he says, happy Friday, my people. PLP have smaller chargers powered by our solar panels and soon to be batteries. That's enough for most employees. Peter Heath, you are right. Hope to see you at the CV show, my friend. Give you loves, hugs and squeezes. Kate Tyrrell just laughing, as always. Waitrose, she thinks for Sam. I think she's probably right. He's a bit of a, posh boy. Leo Pickford. V2H, get you. Adam Tinkham. Engtech. Now then, do love an Engtech. I'm hoping that's an engineering technology person, but Maybe
It
not.
is.
Who knows? Liz Allen, you were mentioned this morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that, I think, is the shout-outs. It's 10:15 on Friday morning. Let's move on. Britain's Aegis Energy has secured a £122 million investment from private equity firm Quinbrook Infrastructure Partners to build 5 multi-energy filling stations for commercial vehicles. Aegis says its stations would be the country's first multi-energy refuelling hubs for trucks and vans and would include electric, HVO or hydro-treated vegetable oil, hydrogen and biomethane fuels. Sam's face is already screwed up. The first station is scheduled to open in early 2026, with the rest by the end of 2027. They will be in the English cities of Sheffield, Immingham, Warrington, Corby and Towcester. Who doesn't love a renewable toaster? Aegis plans to build a total of up to 30 stations by 2030. Now, Sarah, I'm not going to go to Sam on this one yet. What do you think? Mixed fuels, giving a little bit of something that everybody needs. Is that the right approach, or do we just back that electric horse and go for it?
Well, without the full article in front of me, the news script, which I know, Sam, and you do have, so I hope I don't put my foot in it here. But this is about private equity can do this. Private equity can help us to test all of these things. Of course, we on this side of the fence are saying electric all the way, and Leo's in the house, hydrogen bingo is alive and well. But ultimately, lots of fleets out there are still anxious about EV. We know this. So with this private equity funding, perhaps they're allowing people to test and decide as opposed to test and learn. So obviously, I'm hoping that the most popular thing will be the EV and that the others may have cobwebs on them by the end of the trial. But at the same time, that's a big commitment. That's a lot of geographic spread. What they're doing is giving a nice network to those who have chosen through cost modelling or whatever reason for EV to not be their game this year. So I quite like this. And by the way, the first time I ever went to Towcester, I called it Towchester because I live near Cirencester, and everybody thought that was ridiculous.
Speaking of ridiculous, Sam, what is your view of this mixed fuel approach?
I think Sarah's, as always, beautiful, articulate response was pretty good. I'm not necessarily agree with all of it, though. A wide geographic spread, 5 locations. It's not.
But they're only 100 and so miles apart. So you can go for it. It's probably turning out to be a network of brands who have got together to do this.
Yeah, I guess so. And hydrogen's in there, which of course is pointless and will no doubt waste most of the money. But hey, it might work for a good trial again. But just think how many hubs, electric vehicle hubs, you could put it across the entire country with £100 million and make a difference within months, as opposed to maybe putting in 5 sites by the end of 2027. The money could be spent and environmentally benefit in electrification in a matter of weeks and months. But we're going to do some more trials about some more fuel and see whether it works. Yeah, I suppose it has a value, but yeah, doesn't float my boat. Sorry.
No, we guessed it might not, my dear boy. Daryl
That
Sharp.
funding might have come from overseas. That funding.
Yeah, go on. No, she's not.
That funding might
no
have come
matter
from
how hard I
overseas,
try.
meaning other people in other countries. Oh no, I'm trying.
Yeah, you are.
Never mind.
No, come on, Sarah, hit me.
It's not my fault. I've just obviously gone down to 3G again. But I was thinking back to when we had Angus Webb from Dynamon onto our webinar, and he showed us through data that unlocking one EHGV hub extended the range of other vehicles by like 600 miles. I'm going to find the sentence that he used for that. But it was an incredible demonstration of how just one 400 kilowatt charger, which I think was in Cannock, can support an additional like 10 EHGVs or something. So I really hope these private investors who are probably from overseas, who are probably seeing other fuels doing very well, perhaps thinking that's what we need for the UK.
Yeah, Paul Shearer, Barnfather, makes a really good point. Could have destination charges everywhere for 100 million quid. And if you just look on screen now, right now, there we are, there it is. Somebody totally agrees with Sam. It had
Mark
to.
always totally agrees with Sam. Mark,
Literally every week. Is that?
But we love
And
Mark. Right.
even Ron Godfrey, who I insulted earlier in the week, has agreed with me.
It has to happen sooner or later. The law of averages. Somebody agrees with Sam. Right, let's crack on. The commercial vehicle show is not too far away, and it's what we are all about. Commercial fleets and how to transition them to zero emission vehicles. 29th and 30th of April and the 1st of May. And guess what? There's a product launch right next to us, adjacent to the CV show's decarbonisation theatre, provided, thank you very much, by the EV Café. We're going to be seeing the Kia PBV, the professional business van. It's going to be launched with a 7-year warranty, fully electric, and we are buzzing for that. Paul is beside himself. He's having to have a lie down in a dark room. Still keep guessing as to where you think he is. I'm really looking forward to the stage where we've got the kings and queens of fleet, such as Stuart Murphy from Royal Mail, Abby Chicken from BT, Openreach, and we'll also have an opening keynote from OZEV. And who knows, they may include information and conclusions from the open consultations around the ZEV mandate and 4.25 legislation. I'm really buzzing because it's all about the people. So the speaker lineup and who's going to be coming along. Are you coming along? Do you want to be with us at the EV Café and show your wares? Email us at hello@evcafe.org and we will snap to attention. Sarah, Sam, we all did the CV show last year, and it was amazing to see the trucks there. So much going on, but it's not just the vehicles. There's all the ancillaries as well that go with it, the software. It's a hugely interesting place to be. Sarah, did you enjoy CV show?
Yeah, last year I was completely blown away, actually, and I'm on camera with Rick from Generate Media, and I think I said something like, I wasn't even sure I was going to come, and this time they were queuing back to the roundabout, and that just shows that tipping point we're in, where a lot of fleets are having to really think about this now rather than deciding what they're going to do. And it is a predominantly EV show, so it's going to be a good one for us.
Yeah, Jennifer Smith points out that Schneider Electric will be there at the EV Café Village, as will the AA, and others. Can't tell you too much, but they're coming. Sam, you love a stage. What are you looking forward to? What are you looking forward to?
Sarah's last point there, saying predominantly an EV show. I mean, I've been going to the CV show now probably 10 years plus, and it has evolved so much. And I remember the days when there was an electric van maybe on show as a prototype, and things have changed so much now. And every year there's a different story that comes out of the CV show through thick and thin, right? Through COVID and everything else, so. It's just, it really is one of those shows that's been around a long time and has really helps to demonstrate the evolution of our industry and in particularly in the commercial sector. So yeah, I mean, if the majority is zero emission in that building, then wow, we are really coming along, and that's really quite exciting. So I can't wait to see what's new this year.
Ron Godfrey, brilliant. He wants to know what an unprofessional business van looks like. Which was what went through my mind when they said PPV. It's the professional business van. What? Anyway. Daryl Sharp thinks that Paul's had a night out and slept in. Suspect he'll pop on in about 5 minutes. Incorrect, my friend. He ain't there. And Peter Lever, we will see you at the CV show. Stuart Humphrey, it's the 29th and 30th of April and the 1st of May, dear. Do come along. Be lovely to see you. And let's move on to our final story. Chinese car makers are expected to make a significant dent in the UK market over the next few years, bringing an influx of cheaper electric vehicles to our shores. FN50 leasing companies were confident in 2023's survey that those new brands would gain market share from pricier European rivals, and so it is coming to pass. However, that could all change should the government decide to implement stringent tariffs on Chinese-built models. And of course, the United States this last week as throwing tariffs around like they're confetti in a bid to level the playing field for legacy car makers in their region. Now then, don't think for 1 minute that tariffs levied against manufacturers are paid for by the manufacturers. You pay the additional tariff prices. They increase the retail cost of vehicles, and you pay when tariffs are introduced. Nobody else. This is a serious story, isn't it? That we've got this threat of 10%, 25% tariffs. Only consumers lose out. Sarah?
Yeah, it's something I've been looking into. We featured something similar on the news about a couple of months ago. And it was about the deals between Germany, China, manufacturing versus sale. And it's a really interesting balance, especially with Trump pulling out of the Paris Agreement, which went down like a cup of cold sick, but that's the second time they've done that. So I'm really interested to see what knock-on effect that's going to have now on this belief that everybody should be avoiding Chinese manufactured vehicles. And the sad thing about it is they're just quite good. I mean, I didn't realize until last year at CarFest how much of my Tesla was made in China. I just didn't know. And that, John, I will say, great headline. This is one of the reasons I love the news, so we can have this conversation.
Go on, Sam.
Yeah, once again, Sass, today we are in sync, because it's a lovely segue into what I was going to say is what you just said. And I've got this niggling thing about the fact that you said a really good point that a lot of your car is made in China, as is mine, but it's got a Tesla badge on the front. MG is a Chinese-owned vehicle, but it's got an MG badge on the front. Everyone associates Polestar with Volvo. It's a Chinese company owned by Geely. Those ones seem to be doing quite well. I'm not so sure the Chinese car makers are going to make a dent in the UK unless they start going down that branding role of making it familiar to us. Because when I speak to people on the street who don't have EVs, the Chinese sort of brands are all a bit, well, I'm not sure about that. Kind of like my familiarity of the cultural understanding of the vehicle brands that they already know and love. And I'm not entirely sure they are going to make a dent in our market because of that reason. And the other,
not even BYD.
Well, BYD is a good one, I suppose. It's a good, strong one that's whereby it's making more of a dent than others. But there's hundreds of them, isn't there? There's hundreds, literally, of OEMs coming out of China, and I just don't know whether we're gonna have the love for those or not. And the other thing was, good friend and colleague Chris Jackson, who works with me at GridServe, is testing vehicles all the time. He has one of those new Chinese brands. I saw his car came to Swindon this week, and he lives in Manchester. And he said he would prefer to walk home. It's so bad. He said the operating system works. He reckons 25% of it is complete. It said it's appalling. It's the worst car he has ever driven. And that is a new brand straight out of China. Looks fantastic. Is an absolute disaster. So, let's see what happens, because I'm a little bit skeptical still.
Yeah, I think that's true of all cars, isn't it? I remember driving a Mercedes AMG 45 A-Class. And it is the most hideous box of rubbish I have ever driven. It just happens. You get a lemon. It does happen in our world. I think the fear for me is that we are using tariffs as an unseen tax on consumers. Ultimately, inflation will rise as a result of tariffs being bandied about left, right and centre, and the majority of people are not aware that they are paying for our politicians' war of words. Sarah?
John, that's a really good point. And also, you asked us a question, we kind of didn't really answer it because we were supposed to be thinking about the consumer. And at the end of the Melanie podcast, Zaptec, sorry, love a little bit of Zaptec, Zap Map podcast with Melanie, she said for her magic wand wish that she'd like to see an influx of affordable £15,000, 300-mile range cars. That's what she would love to see. That's what ZapMap are working towards the support for. Well, I don't see VW or others coming up with the goods there.
No. Yeah, well, it was Michael Barton in the comments, actually. I only found out about a Moda and JQ when a dealership appeared. A Moda is that cheap vehicle that Chris drove and said he would rather walk home. So there is a risk
Whereas
factor.
Conversely,
yeah, go on, Sass. You're a bit late.
The BYD that we were given for the rally was amazing. I absolutely loved the handling, the interior, but the user interface was quite irritating. And instead, I just used Apple CarPlay. But then it didn't matter. That was the compromise, and that vehicle was stunning.
Yeah, Jim Blair, I'm just going to finish with Jim Blair's comment. He says, I think the point is to apply a tariff so consumers don't buy the product. The difficulty, Jim, is that America doesn't have the ability to create more electric vehicles, or indeed the desire to do so. Other countries, China, can produce those vehicles that we all need to improve the environment that we live in. We're seeing the devastating effects of climate change, and I don't want to push this too far down people's throats, but we need to remember why we are in this industry. We are here to make the world a little bit cleaner, a little bit better, and a little bit more efficient. Tariffs are just a political weapon and have no place in trying to do the right thing. Until next Friday, it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from them. Bless you both very much indeed for your insight and thoughts. This has been an EV Café production. Other sustainability news services are available. But this is just fun. The EV
I
Cafe
forgot that
is
Sharpie pen.
is truly blessed to be partnered with VAA, Webfleet, Europcar, Iveco, Drax Electric Vehicles, Sperry, Allstar, Schneider Electric, Dynamon, EV Blocks, and AW Energy. And we've got a few more in the pipeline, just saying. We are the EV Cafe, supporting the transition to clean transport. Stay safe, stay well, put rocks in your pockets so you don't blow away, and we'll see you next Friday. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, it's over. Yes,
Tito.
God,